The WLEW Sports Network presents The Strong Side with Clark Ramsey, Dave Hanson, and Paul P. Adams. The Strong Side is presented by Active Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine, Randy's Hunting Center, 269 Guns, Thumb Bank and Trust, Thompson Chevrolet, Go Thompson, and Sure Health. Better health, better life. You're listening to the WLEW Sports Network, powered by Agri Valley Services.
Just 144 teams across 10 divisions are still playing football in the state of Michigan, and the road to the state championship is getting shorter by the week. Good evening and welcome to the WLEW Sports Network's presentation of The Strong Side on Sports Radio 1021 and live on YouTube. I'm Clark Ramsey, your host, and joining me tonight is a true professional. He even has a license to prove it. Please welcome Dave Hanson.
Thank you, Clark. Paul, good to see you. Guys, we had some awesome football games to talk about from this past weekend.
And also in studio with us is the editor of the Huron County View, Paul P. Adams.
Yeah, this past weekend, this is what the playoffs is all about. They're very evenly matched teams, compelling games all the way around.
It's an all-in-depth look, and there have been 2 rounds of cuts already in the MHSA playoffs, and yet 5 NCTL and Greater Thumb Conference teams are still standing.
No doubt about it. Our teams have been represented well. Unfortunately, a couple of them had to knock themselves out this weekend, but again, there were some great games, and the better team ended up winning. We got some great matchups coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I think our conference is well represented again and poised for some very deep runs.
It's all coming up on The Strong Side, an in-depth look at the playoffs of the week number 2 and looking at week number 3, and also now streaming on YouTube. Left side or right side, you're listening to The Strong Side. Never thought possible or even necessary in our lives. And even with all the unknowns in the world right now, one thing we know for certain. When it comes to healthcare, you know where to go. For the most up-to-date and state-of-the-art 3D mammography, you know where to go. For 5-star service in the cleanest hospital in the state of Michigan. For primary care, whether it's in Bad Axe, Elkton, Caseville, Pigeon, or Sebring, you know where to go. For walk-in care and fast care, open 362 days a year. For a certified trauma 4 medical center, award-winning pediatrics, cardiac, pulmonary, and physical rehabilitation. For 3 senior living communities, 4 pharmacies, diabetes education, respiratory therapy, or specialty care like cardiology, podiatry, urology, orthopedics, general surgery, and ears, nose, and throat. For whatever you need in healthcare, there's only one place to go. Sure. Better health, better life. So, do you know where to go? You sure do. Are you sure? When it comes time to buy a new vehicle, the choice is simple. Thompson Chevrolet. Located on M19 just north of Ubly, it's a short drive to find the best quality cars, trucks, and SUVs on the market. Come in and check out the award-winning Chevy Blazer, Chevy Equinox, or the strongest, most advanced Chevy Silverado in its history. With free pickup and delivery on service appointments. With GM-certified mechanics, keep your vehicle in top-performing shape year-round with Thompson Chevrolet. If your next new vehicle is not on the lot, they can get it for you, no problem at all. The latest models are here, so come in, check them out, and find out why so many go Thompson. GoThompsonChevrolet.com. Find new roads. There are few things in life that are constant. Death, taxes, and back pain. And not only back pain, but your neck, your arm, your other arm, legs, feet, and other places. And it can really slow you down. It can keep you from your favorite hobbies, traveling, and even everyday life. So how do we take care of your body's aches and pains? Well, it's quite simple. Active Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine. They have 2 convenient locations, just west of Light and Bad Axe, and on the east end of Sandusky. And they have extended hours, so there's no excuse. You don't have to be some sort of high-end athlete to be a part of Active Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine. Patient recovery and rehabilitation is the top priority of their trained professionals, no matter the injury. They work with you to create a rehab program designed for you. It's that simple. So if you want to get active, once again, Go to Active Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine in Bad Axe and Sandusky. Check it out for yourself at activephysicaltherapymi.com. That's activephysicaltherapymi.com in Bad Axe and Sandusky. Left side or right side, you're listening to The Strong Side on Sports Radio 102.1 and also live on YouTube. Clark Ramsey, Dave Hanson, and Paul P. Adams here on The Strong Side, broadcasting live on YouTube as well. It's been a crazy week number 2 of the playoffs, and let's jump right into it as fast as possible. We have an 8-player football Division 1. We had Morris hosting the Merrill Vandals, and it was Morris 38-20. In Morris, Michigan. Adrian Lenawee Christian takes care of Mayville, the 2 seed over the 3 seed, 78-14. And on the other side of the bracket, Martin over New Buffalo, 50-0, and Marcellus over Lawrence, 26-22. Just 4 teams remain in Division 1.
Wow, Adrian Lenawee Christian. We knew they were good. They just took apart one of the best teams in the NCTL. Credit to Mayville. That's the first team that's put up double digits on Adrian Lenawee Christian, but what an impressive score, 78 points. And Morris had its hands full with Merrill. That's going to be a great game between Morris and Adrian Lenawee Christian.
In Division 2 of 8-player football, the North Huron Warriors on Saturday took care of Peck for the second time this season. North Huron beat Peck 3 weeks ago, 36-6. This time around was 34-14, and they're trying to get to the regional final for the second year in a row. Mount Pleasant Sacred Heart, the Catholics of Mount Pleasant, take out the Catholics of Bay City and All Saints, 51-12. That's the second time they played in 3 weeks there. Portland St. Patrick takes care of Waldron, 53-26. And Colon, the Magi, over the Defenders, Wyoming Tri-Community Christian, 63-0.
Very, very good win for North Huron. We're going to talk about it later. We wondered how the Warriors would respond without their starting quarterback. In steps Tyler Moore, and offensively, they didn't miss a beat. That was a really good gut check for the Warriors.
And taking a look at 11-player football between Division 8 and Division 7, we'll start in Division 8. Flint Beecher and Harbor Beach were supposed to play on Saturday at 1 o'clock. COVID won that one. Forfeiture for Harbor Beach due to a proactive quarantine gives Flint Beecher the victory. Harbor Beach finished the season, including the forfeiture, at 4-4. The Ubly Bearcats hosted the USA Patriots on Friday in Ubly, and it was a tight one all the way through and through. 8-8 at halftime, 8-8 at the end of the third quarter, and 14-14 at the end of regulation. Had to go to extra innings for Ubly securing the victory 20-14 over the USA Patriots.
Before we talk about the games that happened, we gotta touch on Harbor Beach for a quick second. So disappointing there, but as you said, Clark, there's a key word there: proactive. There is not an outbreak at Harbor Beach. There's not anything going on crazy over there. Coach Schelke really wanted to make sure that got out there. The situation, without getting too in depth, could have happened to anybody. This wasn't about somebody being irresponsible. It's an unfortunate situation that could happen to any of us. And they did all the right things, and it still cost them their season. But this wasn't anybody being reckless over there in Harbor Beach.
That's a great point. And I was going to point out the other fact that Harbor Beach not playing actually hurts the Ubly Bearcats, because that's just another local team getting tape and getting a little more knowledge on Flint Beecher. So I feel that kind of handicaps the winner of the USA Ubly game, which ends up being the Bearcats. I really feel like that's going to kind of hurt them, but I certainly like their chances next week.
On the other side of the bracket in Division 8, Fowler takes out Holton 54-6. Fowler now improves to 6-2 on the season, and they'll play Carson City Crystal as they took out Saranac 52-13. In Division 7 football, Hemlock hosted the Bad Axe Hatchets. After Bad Axe coming off of that first playoff victory since 1978, this is the third time they met in all history, and Hemlock now leads the overall series 3-0. A tight one all the way through, and Hemlock hangs on by 3 points, 20-17, as Bad Axe was leading at halftime, 10-6. And then the game of the week on the WLW Sports Network, Cass City hosting the Sandusky Redskins, and also another one for overtime, Cass City 14, Sandusky 12.
We all wondered how Bad Axe was going to respond after really winning its Super Bowl, beating Lakers for a second time. The Hatchets came out and gave themselves a shot to win this game against an undefeated Hemlock team. I think Bad Axe opened up eyes not only throughout the Thumb, but the entire state of Michigan, because Hemlock is a really good team, and Bad Axe went toe-to-toe with them. To me, that's probably the most surprising outcome of the weekend, how Bad Axe played.
If you're a Cass City Red Hawk fan, you're not any happier than seeing that result right now, because I think a lot of us assumed Hemlock was going to take care of Bad Axe, but kudos to them. I was one that thought Bad Axe was really in trouble here, and Bad Axe proved all of us wrong. They had a puncher's chance. A couple of missed field goals really cost them. This team had a real chance of upsetting Hemlock, but Cass City has to feel really good about it, knowing that if Bad Axe almost beat them, they certainly have a good chance too.
And speaking of the Cass City Redhawks, let's talk about the game of the week on the WLW Sports Network. Cass City hosting Sandusky. A battle for who's the best in the Greer Thumb Conference. The Greer Thumb West champs against the co-champs against the Greer Thumb East champs. In the first quarter, all squared at 0. Absolutely no scoring in that first quarter. In the second quarter, just 48 seconds left in this quarter. Sandusky goes on a huge drive. It started at their own 25-yard line. 17 plays later, 11 minutes off the clock later, and Lucas Feehan with the quarterback dive from 1 yard out makes it 6-0 as the two-point conversion failed. And that would be your score at halftime. Sandusky 6, Cass City 0. Moving into the third quarter, Cass City flips the script after Sandusky receives what we'll call a blocked punt, but it was as it hit the back of the line of Cass City. Sandusky took over at the Cass City 25-yard line. Looked like they were going ahead by 2 possessions, but then they go a 4 and out. They cannot convert on downs. It's a turnover on downs at the Cass City 16-yard line. And here come the Redhawks. They take advantage of that next exact drive into the fourth quarter now. 9 minutes left in regulation, and Jordan Mester caps off a 14-play drive from 8 yards out for the score. Two-point conversion fails, and we are tied at 6 apiece. Now, here's the next 3 drives for the rest of regulation here. 6:46 left. Sandusky gets the ball back after that score. They cannot move. They do not get a first down. It's a 3 and out. They punt back to Cass City. 5:04 left in the fourth quarter. Cass City can't do anything with it. They can't get a first down. They 3 and out. Give it back to Sandusky after a punt. 2 minutes and 10 seconds left. Sandusky has the ball back. They can't get a first down, so they punt it away. So then Cass City begins at their own 25-yard line, and then they have 12 plays from that 25-yard line down to the 1 yard line. As time expires, they throw a pass into the end zone. There is a pass interference flag on it, so they result in an untimed down half the distance to the goal line, so Cass City has one more shot to get it. Cathrell calls for a pass from Fernald to Matt Mahalik. It gets to the alleged half-yard line and does not get into the end zone, and so we find ourselves at the end of regulation at 6-6, a tie. Heading to overtime, Cass City now on the first play of possession. They had possession first, and Bryce Fernald keeps it for himself. 10-yard quarterback keeper into the end zone. The two-point conversion throw to Mahalik was good, and Cass City leads by 8 points, 14-6. Sandusky, of course, has another chance at it in the second play of their possession. DeLorme Wedge after a 7-yard dive and makes it a 3-yard dive for DeLorme Wedge into the end zone. And it all comes down to that two-point conversion, and the two-point conversion fails as Ryan DeLong tackles Sandusky at the 2-yard line, and that would be your final. Cass City 14, Sandusky 12. Cass City advance to the district final.
Well, after one half of play, this was all Sandusky. That drive that they had that basically overtook the whole second quarter really kind of set the pace of the game. And Cass City could not wait to get to halftime. When they got to halftime, something clicked because they got to stop. And as soon as that punt hit the back of one of their offensive players and went the wrong direction, Sandusky was in the driver's seat. And when Cass City made that fourth down stop and took over the ball there, and that turned around and led to a touchdown, Jordan Mester came unglued on that drive. He took over the team, and from that point forward, all momentum shifted. Cass City took over and dominated the game the rest of the way. Defensively and offensively, running the game, it was totally even. No running back, accumulated 50 yards rushing in the game. And we were talking about having the most star-studded backfield, especially the Redskins and Cass City. Not one running back to accumulate 50 yards tells you how impressive the game plan was in the front seven of these defenses to stop the run. And it took some broken plays, it took a couple passing plays, and it took some design runs, all circled around Jordan Mester for Cass City to pull away, win this game down the stretch. And they absolutely won this old-fashioned rugby-style game by having an athletic quarterback taking over the game. If it wasn't for his play down the stretch, I don't know if they have enough in the offensive tank to score twice on that Sandusky defense.
Yeah, this game to me was a game of adjustments. Cass City needed halftime to come desperately because they, like you said, Dave, they were getting dominated in that game in the first half, and Sandusky didn't make any changes to to counter what Cass City did. What was working in the first half didn't work in the second half, and Sandusky just kept trying to go to the well and not get creative enough. Where, as you just said, Cass City started to get creative and started to try to get athletes in space and let Fernald do some special things. And that was really the difference of the game between two evenly matched teams, was adjustments and going deep into your playbook and just finding something that was going to work. And Cass City just had a few of those plays that worked a little bit more.
The first half, it was Lucas Feehan. Lucas Feehan really made a few key conversions for that Sandusky offense. Cass City, to speak more specifically to those adjustments you're talking about, Cass City took away Lucas Feehan in the second half. And when they took him away, Sandusky never got any of that running game going. No one ever replaced him as the guy that they could hand the ball off to and get the first down when they needed it. And on the other side of things, and I thought it took Cass City too long to do this, but they finally looked at Bryce Fernald and said, go ahead and throw the football. Go ahead and throw the football. He absolutely took over this game. Bryce Fernald did by throwing the football, using his legs. He got Jordan Mester involved, scored a crucial touchdown. These guys really played well in the second half, but it took me too long to get that passing game going because they even ran in passing downs. When it was man-to-man, Fernald took off and ran and got like 20 yards, one of the biggest plays of the game. On a design pass, he ended up running. So there were a lot of things that happened because we knew Sandusky's pass defense was a little suspect. I will give Matt Carlson credit, though. They put him back there, and he knocked down a couple passes to delay Cass City from taking over this game, but it was not enough.
Sandusky ended up with 112 rushing yards on 36 carries and 2 scores. Cass City had 40 carries, 4 more than Sandusky, and it resulted in about 44 more yards than Sandusky as well. 40 carries for 156 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Through the air, Cass City, Bryce Fernald, 6 of 12 in passing, no interceptions for 51 yards. Sandusky, 2 of 3 for a total of 8 yards from Lucas Feehan, the backup quarterback. Penalties were not an issue for this. That was a relief from the week before for us. Sandusky was led by DeLorean Wedge with 12 carries for 45 yards and a score. Zach Franzel, 11 carries, 35 yards. Lucas Feehan, the quarterback, 10 carries, 21 yards and a score. Martin Tovar, 3 carries and 11 yards. Receiving the ball, Matt Carlson, 1 reception, 7 yards. Zach Franzel, the other, for just 1 yard. Cass City led by Bryce Fernald, 11 carries for 88 yards and a score. And then the running backs, Jordan Mester, like Dave was saying, 7 carries, just 27 yards and a score. Noah Zaleski, 11 carries, 25 yards. And Alex Perry held to 11 carries for 16 yards on the night. Fernald, 6 of 12 through the air for 51 yards. Matt Mahalik bringing in 3 of those for 19 total yards.
Didn't this feel like there should have been a trophy on the line for this game? I said the same after I walked off the field at Ubly-USA. This felt like a district championship game. I listened to this whole game while I was covering my game, and it was such compelling action. 2 great evenly matched teams, and poor Sandusky comes up on the short end again against Cass City. What do they have to do to get over that hump? But it's a shame to see them done. But man, Cass City proven once again that they are one of the top teams in the thumb.
They certainly are, and they're rolling. But I think there's one stat that I'm sure Clark can correct me on if I'm off a little bit. But if I'm not mistaken, Sandusky only accumulated about 20 yards of offense in the second half. So that's where it went. Cass City made the adjustment. They took away the running game. Kudos to them. Sandusky was unable to respond, unable to hold on to that short lead. And then the overtime, it did not have much for drama. I mean, they go ahead and score on the first play. Sandusky go ahead and score on the second play. But that all-important 2-point conversion. Cass City gets it. Sandusky doesn't. Two evenly matched teams, game doesn't get any closer than that.
And Dave is correct there. I do believe, if my memory holds true, Sandusky had right around 90 yards at halftime. They ended up with 112 rushing as well as 8 yards passing in that second half. But Sandusky did not have a single first down in that second half, as they had 6 first downs in the first half. Cass City, on the flip side, had 2 first downs or 3 first downs in that first half. Everything else came in the second half. They ended up with 11 first downs. Cass City now advances and takes on, to the road this time, Hemlock. The Huskies are now 8-0 after taking out the Bad Axe-Hatchets just yesterday. Hemlock 8-0, have won 8 in a row, and they are firing all cylinders, but we will talk about them later in this program. It's time for a short break. When we return, we'll take a look at the Bad Axe-Hatchets as well as the Ubly Bearcats and USA Patriots. Left side, right side, you're listening to The Strong Side. There are few things in life that are constant: death, taxes, and back pain. And not only back pain, but your neck, your arm, your other arm, legs, feet, and other places. And it can really slow you down. It can keep you from your favorite hobbies, traveling, and even everyday life. So how do we take care of your body's aches and pains? Well, it's quite simple. Active Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine. They have 2 convenient locations, just west of Light and Bad Axe, and on the east end of Sandusky. And they have extended hours, so there's no excuse. You don't have to be some sort of high-end athlete to be a part of Active Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine. Patient recovery and rehabilitation is the top priority of their trained professionals, no matter the injury. They work with you to create a rehab program designed for you. It's that simple. So if you want to get active, once again, go to Active Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine in Bad Axe and Sandusky. Check it out for yourself at activephysicaltherapymi.com. That's activephysicaltherapymi.com in Bad Axe and Sandusky.
Get into hunting season with the help of Randy's Hunting Center in Bad Axe. Look for the 40-foot-tall log cabin showroom with over 40 wildlife mounts from around the world. Randy's can install your scope and sight in your gun at their range. Just set the dial and be ready for the shot of your lifetime with the help of Randy's Hunting Center. Over 4,500 new rifles, shotguns, and handguns in stock, including the Ruger American Rifle in .450 Bushmaster and .350 Legend. Over 190 variations of the .450 Bushmaster, including the Ruger .450 AR, an exclusive Go Wild with 16-inch heavy barrel and factory muzzle brake with bronze Cerakote finish and camouflage stock. We also have the new Barnes and subsonic ammo for the .450 on hand, along with plenty of pistols and AR rifles in stock.
Hi, I'm Randy Brown. Get your best deal at Randy's Hunting Center at the east end of Bad Axe. Call 269-GUNS, 989-269-GUNS.
When it comes time to buy a new vehicle, the choice is simple. Thompson Chevrolet. Located on M19 just north of Ubly, it's a short drive to find the best quality cars, trucks, and SUVs on the market. Come in and check out the award-winning Chevy Blazer, Chevy Equinox, or the strongest, most advanced Chevy Silverado in its history. With free pickup and delivery on service appointments. With GM-certified mechanics, keep your vehicle in top-performing shape year-round with Thompson Chevrolet. If your next new vehicle is not on the lot, they can get it for you, no problem at all. The latest models are here, so come in, check them out, and find out why so many go Thompson. GoThompsonChevrolet.com. Find new roads. Left side or right side, you're listening to The Strong Side on Sports Radio 1021 and also now live on YouTube. Thank you to all of our listeners and watchers out there on YouTube. We've talked about the Cass City Redhawks and the Sandusky Redskins. I thought of a trophy game there. We have the Redhawks and Redskins. Let's do a big giant bottle of red hot sauce and we'll call her good. All right, moving along here to the Ubly Bearcats and USA Patriots. Dave, just be quiet over there. All right, moving on to another game that ended in overtime. USA going on the road to Ubly. This was bound to be a good one, and we were sad we could not be there for this one. But it started out 3 minutes into the ball game, and Ubly strikes first. Evan Peruski, the freshman quarterback and a 10-yard keeper, makes it count for the Ubly Bearcats. The 2-point conversion from Carson Hleski is good. It's 8-0 Ubly, just 3 minutes in the ball game. 21 seconds left in the first half. Fast forward there, and Connor Gettle, a quarterback keeper from 4 yards out for the USA Patriots, putting them on the board. And then Connor Gettle caps that off with a 2-point conversion throw to Walker Foley. Makes it 8 apiece, tied at halftime. USA and Ubly at 8-8. In the third quarter, halfway through, USA strikes, strikes an interception. Connor Gettle throws an interception at Ubly's 19-yard line, and that turns the ball back over. And then into the fourth quarter, USA strikes first in the second half. That'd be the first score in the second half. 7 minutes and 33 seconds left in regulation, and USA's Braylon Ballard dives in from a yard out. The 2-point conversion fails. Key point there, and it's 14-8 USA, leading by just 6 points. 4 minutes later, 3 minutes and 40 seconds left in regulation, and Ubly on a 4th and 2. Evan Peruski, the quarterback, freshman quarterback, throws a 17-yard pass to Kyle Sweeney, finds the end zone. It is tied to 14 apiece, and they go for the 2-point conversion, and USA holds strong. The 2-point conversion fails, and we are tied at 14 apiece. Moving on to overtime. USA cannot score on all 4 tries in their first possession, so Ubly takes over, tied still at 14-14. And Ubly on just the second play, sounds familiar like our game as well. Ubly on the second play of the overtime, Carson Hleski runs in from 5 yards out, and that would be your ball game at 20-14 is your final. And the USA Patriots season's over. The Ubly Bearcats advance to the district final.
There is so much to unpack in this game. We talk about the old cliche, it's too bad somebody had to lose. I mean, it really is too bad somebody had to lose this game. It's been USA more times than not against Ubly, but I want to go to that 4th and 2 play. That's season on the line for the Bearcats right there. They don't convert, in all likelihood, they're going to run out of timeouts, a first down or 2 for USA. They're going to be able to run the clock out, and it's ball game. They put the season on the line in the hands of a freshman quarterback, a little bootleg. It was a beautiful play. Kyle Sweeney's got great hands. Not only did he get the first down, they got the touchdown. Now, you fast forward to overtime. The thing that goes unnoticed is, yes, USA didn't score in their 4 plays. First play, they had Ubly on their heels. Roll out pass, Connor Gettle had an open man, just missed him. I love the play call for USA. They got aggressive. They went for the score right away. But the only problem is when you don't get that score, you put yourself in a bind, and it was an uphill battle the rest of the way. They didn't score. Then when you give Ubly the ball back at the 10-yard line, it's pretty simple what was going to happen. Number 30, Carson Hleski, was going to get the ball. Nobody else was touching that ball. He fouled number 55, Nolan Van Erp, 2 times into the end zone, and it was a touchdown. Just an amazingly well-played game between these two teams. So clean. The interception didn't really cost USA at all. So turnovers really weren't a factor. There was 1 penalty for 5 yards. So, like I said, so clean. When these teams play, the team that makes the least amount of mistakes is going to win. And really, neither one of these teams made any huge mistakes, but it was the missed opportunity on that first play in overtime that cost USA. But I still support that play call. Go for the win. They had the play dialed up. It was the right play, and it just didn't work for them.
2 major points. I thought in the beginning of the second half, I thought Connor Gettle's interception deep into Ubly territory really changed the way that game was going. Because I think if USA scores there, this game is probably in the bag. Because USA end up scoring next anyways. They could get a chance to go up 2 scores there. But that just is the credit to that Ubly Bearcat defense. It has simply gotten so much better from week 1 till now. And it's just typical Ubly. You know, they might be down this year. No, they're not. They're 5-2. They're going to be. Point number 2. This team was so even. 4 carries, 29 yards, and they both had 2 rushing touchdowns. That's what separated these teams. They both had 2 TDs. There were 4 carries difference and 29 yards rushing difference. So what's the point? 0 for 4 passing with an interception from USA, 3 for 4 passing for 40 yards and a touchdown. And not just any touchdown, the touchdown that tied the game. So the passing game of the Ubly Bearcats, I'm going to repeat that. The passing game of the Ubly Bearcats was the difference in this game. And a freshman quarterback nonetheless. And I've been saying it for years. It's not that Ubly doesn't have the ability to. They just feel they don't need to. But in this game, they felt that need to do it, and look what happens. They strike gold. This team sets you up all game long with power running games, sets up this play-action pass, and the freshman Evan Peruski doesn't miss it. This kid could be a star moving forward.
Dave, I'm glad you mentioned the defense. I talked to Carson Haleski after the game, and I asked him about the defense, and they were so unhappy with the first game against Brown City where they gave up 200 yards rushing, and they really challenged themselves. And I said, "What's the difference? What's the difference in this defense?" And he said, plain and simple, it's being more aggressive. That's all they're doing. And they came out, they made a statement against Bad Axe in the last week of the season. They dismantled Brown City, and they held an explosive USA team to less than 170 yards. This defense is firing on all cylinders. The offense is getting it done. I'm glad you mentioned Peruski. This kid is going to be absolutely special. Every single week, he improves a little bit more. Coach Eric Sweeney gives a little bit more to him, asks him to do a little bit more. The sky's the limit for this kid, and he's getting just enough to really give Ubly that little bit of extra dimension that they need.
Ubly ends up winning 20-14. They have 197 yards rushing, 2 scores, 40 through the air. Evan Peruski 3 of 4 for 40 yards. Carson Haleski leading the way with 18 carries, 108 yards and a score. Evan Peruski 8 carries, 57 yards and the other rushing touchdown. It's time for a short break. When we return, we'll take a look at the Ubly Bearcats, the Bad Axe Hatchets, and the Hemlock Huskies, right here on Sports Radio 102.1.
Into hunting season with the help of Randy's Hunting Center in Bad Axe. Look for the 40-foot-tall log cabin showroom with over 40 wildlife mounts from around the world. Randy's can install your scope and sight in your gun at their range. Just set the dial and be ready for the shot of your lifetime with the help of Randy's Hunting Center. Over 4,500 new rifles, shotguns, and handguns in stock, including the Ruger American Rifle in .450 Bushmaster and .350 Legend. Over 190 variations of the .450 Bushmaster, including the Ruger .450 AR, an exclusive Go Wild with 16-inch heavy barrel and factory muzzle brake with bronze Cerakote finish and camouflage stock. We also have the new Barnes and subsonic ammo for the .450 on hand, along with plenty of pistols and AR rifles in stock.
Hi, I'm Randy Brown. Get your best deal at Randy's Hunting Center at the east end of Bad Axe. Call 269-GUNS, 989-269-GUNS.
When it comes time to buy a new vehicle, the choice is simple. Thompson Chevrolet. Located on M19 just north of Ubly, it's a short drive to find the best quality cars, trucks, and SUVs on the market. Come in and check out the award-winning Chevy Blazer, Chevy Equinox, or the strongest, most advanced Chevy Silverado in its history. With free pickup and delivery on service appointments. With GM-certified mechanics, keep your vehicle in top-performing shape year-round with Thompson Chevrolet. If your next new vehicle is not on the lot, they can get it for you, no problem at all. The latest models are here, so come in, check them out, and find out why so many go Thompson. GoThompsonChevrolet.com. Find new roads.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name.
Everyone agrees that life has been a struggle during this pandemic. This is Mike LePage, Thumb Area President at Thumb Bank and Trust. During these pandemic times, community banks have stepped up to help customers across this great nation. Community banks like Thumb Bank and Trust reached out and helped their business customers apply for PPP loans that kept their businesses alive during an extremely tough time. Community banks also helped huge numbers of small businesses that were not their customers when the big banks left them behind to deal with larger business customers. And we stand ready to help again should the need arise. Thumb Bank and Trust salutes our area community banks that are locally owned and support the communities they live in. Thumb Bank and Trust has been locally owned and dedicated to our customers and communities for 125 years. Thumb Bank and Trust, with offices in Pigeon, Cass City, Caseville, Bad Axe, and Bay City, where we have been community strong for 125 years. An equal housing lender and member FDIC.
Left side or right side, you're listening to The Strong Side on Sports Radio 1021 and live on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com and search for WLW Sports, and you'll see all of our faces for radio, especially Dave, face for radio through Zoom. It's kind of an Inception mentality there. All right, let's talk about the Division 7 other game on the other side there. Cass City goes on to play the winner of Hemlock and Bad Axe. This game took place Saturday at 1 o'clock. And Bad Axe came out, was firing in that first half, but Hemlock scores with just 1 second left in the first quarter. Espen Miller with a 1-yard run. The PAT failed. It's 6-0 Hemlock. In the second quarter, Bad Axe gets on the board for the first time, 4:35 before the half, as Blackstock throws a 4-yard pass to Jensen Emmerich. The PAT is good. From Micah Gordon, it makes it 7-6 Bad Axe with a 1-point lead. Going into halftime, nope. One moment here, 9 seconds left in the half. Bad Axe gets in within firing distance. They roll out the field goal unit, and Micah Gordon hits a 34-yard field goal, hit the other bell, and that is a good field goal. It is Bad Axe leading by 4 points, 10-6. That bell is paying off beautifully. It's a 10-inch brass bell, and so it's 10-6 at halftime. Into the third quarter, 7:45 left in the third. Hemlock, they start to fire here. Dylan LeGros with a 2-yard quarterback keeper. The PAT fails. It's 12-10 Hemlock by 2 points. And then they fouled it up 5 minutes later with an Espen Miller 6-yard run for the score. The 2-point conversion, Miller brings in the catch. And it's 20-10 Hemlock, leading by 10 points into the fourth quarter. Minute 39 left. Bad Axe gets back into the end zone. Carson Affer with a 5-yard run. The PAT from Gordon is good. And it's a 3-point ball game on the ensuing kickoff. Bad Axe goes for the onside kick. They recover it. However, it does not go 10 yards. Hemlock holds possession. They kneel. Even though Bad Axe had timeouts, is a little confusing at the end of the game, but regardless, though, Hemlock hangs on with a 3-point victory. Will now go and host the Cass City Redhawks this coming week for the district final. Bad Axe finishes the season at 5-3 and a bang-up season for the Bad Axe Hatchets.
Hey, this game was very competitive, guys. There was a ton of yards happening, a little sloppy. There was 5 turnovers in the game, but Bad Axe hung around for a very long time. Couple things that really hurt them. A botched punt in the middle of that game, and they had 2 missed field goal attempts that easily could have swayed how this game went. But for me, just an overall perspective, hats off to the Hatchets. I really thought Hemlock was the real deal. I thought Hemlock would take care of business. But the Bad Axe Hatchets, and I give them credit because we haven't said this about them in a long time, they fought tooth and nail. They fought tough for 4 quarters. They overcame a couple turnovers, a pick and a fumble, and this team had a chance down the stretch. And that's what we've been itching to see out of this Bad Axe team is that fight, that passion. And they got some really good young core players. The future looks bright for Bad Axe. And overall, I thought they had an absolutely fantastic season, arguably a Coach of the Year candidate. But again, Bad Axe, 236 yards on the ground, another 137 through the air. And they can really happy that Vinny Blackstock played because he played quite well. And you know he wasn't 100%.
Yeah, welcome back, Vinny Blackstock, and what a difference he makes to this team. 130, he had 120 yards passing, 8 of 13. He did have a pick, but this offense just wasn't clicking without him. You look back at when they lost him against Ubly, and even in that playoff game against Lakers. I mean, it was not pretty. But Vinny comes back, and maybe that just injected some life overall into the team. They outgained Hemlock in this game. And when Bad Axe's offense is clicking like that, and with that defense that they have, I mean, it was right there. A few things go their way. Bad Axe definitely could have won this game, but this was a wake-up call and should open a lot of eyes. I just truly hope that this wasn't a one-season wonder and that whatever's happening over in Bad Axe can continue on after this season because I really like it. I like what Coach Polkley has done. You can tell there's a different mentality over there. And guess what, folks? If this continues, you're not going to want to just schedule Bad Axe on your homecoming thinking that that's going to be an easy win. These Hatchets have a lot of pride, and you can just tell it's different. It feels different when you watch this team, and it's a lot of fun. Too bad it had to come to an end. If they could have won this game, we would have had a Cass City Bad Axe showdown for the Greater Thumb West Championship.
That would have been awesome because we could have gone back to Cass City again, and they're always a great host. But this Bad Axe team has a very highly anticipated sophomore class. You saw a few of those guys, Meinhold, McPhee. There's a couple sophomores. There's a Brown kid you didn't get to see with a broken collarbone. This team has some young sophomores that already are contributing at the varsity level. Look for them to come back as juniors healthy, as a team you're going to want to watch out for next year.
I have a theory about Bad Axe, why they had a turnaround this year, but this is completely in jest, but they got rid of the winged helmets. That was their problem. They got rid of the winged helmets.
I tell you, I'm a fan of the winged helmets, but those new helmets are sharp. They're really, really good looking helmets.
I agree.
Yeah, that's not the point of that.
It's a bad weekend for college football in the state of Michigan. Vinny Blackstock ends up with 8 of 13 in passing, 1 interception for 120 yards and a score. Jensen Emmerich bringing in 5 receptions for 68 yards and a score. Corbin Legault, 13 carries, 134 yards. Carson Affer, 8 carries, 48 yards and a score. Blackstock, 11 carries, 36 yards. And Griffin Meinhold, 7 carries and 12 yards. He was also 1 of 4 through passing for Griffin Meinhold for 17 yards. Hemlock, of course, hosts Cass City, and the word is on the street that Cass City is going to be playing on Friday. That's according to our sources there.
We're hearing Friday night, which is a surprise to all of us because Hemlock has been playing on Saturday, so it's very surprising that they would give up essentially a day of practice to make this game go back a day and play on Friday night. But, hey, most teams are used to playing on Friday night, so maybe that had something to do with it. But, yeah, right now I'm hearing Friday night at 7 p.m.
And, of course, as long as our application for the MHSA goes through, it never been denied, but that will be the game of the week. Cass City at Hemlock, potentially this Friday at 7 p.m. with kickoff at 6. All right, let's take a look at the North Huron Warriors and the Peck Pirates taking place Saturday, yesterday in Kindy. And it was North Huron victorious for the second time this year, a 20-point victory this time over the Peck Pirates. North Huron strikes first halfway through the first. Tyler Moore, a 70-yard run. The 2-point conversion fails at 6-0 North Huron. Tyler Moore tacks on another one 3 minutes later. A 3-yard run makes it 12-0 Tyler Moore, Peck 0. In the second quarter, just before the half is over, Peck scores with 14 seconds left. Kyle Vincent throws a 24-yard pass to Brandon Warnarski. 2-point conversion fails. It's 12-6 going to halftime. North Huron, nope. 1 second left. Tyler Moore returns a 73-yard kickoff for the score, and Tyler Moore ends the first half with 3 touchdowns. 2-point conversion, Christian Brown on the run makes it 20-6 North Huron by 14. In the third quarter, minute 21 left, North Huron's Christian Brown with another score, 19-yard run. 2-point conversion from Moore makes it 28-6. Peck scores 9 minutes left in regulation. Dylan Rosenthal with a 1-yard run. 2-point conversion from Rosenthal as well makes it 28-14. And with 3 minutes and 43 seconds left, Tyler Moore decides, I'm going to score one more time today. 1-yard run makes it 34-14. That would be your final. Tyler Moore ends up with 21 carries for 159 yards, 3 touchdowns, plus the touchdown kickoff return. Christian Brown, 16 carries, 156 yards, and 1 score. Paul B. Adams, you were at this ball game. What did you think?
It was obvious. Well, I'll talk about Tyler Moore in a second. Tyler Moore had a spectacular game, and he deserves a lot of credit. But this game started with North Huron's defense. Peck could not move the ball in the first half whatsoever. They had one final drive that was aided by a face mask call on a 4th down that kept the drive going, and that gave Peck a little bit of life, and Peck scored at the end. But this game was all about North Huron's defense. All day long, Peck could not do anything. They couldn't pass. They could barely run. They were unable to string any plays together. So with that said, obviously the big story going in was Will Case, North Huron's stud quarterback, player of the year candidate, hurt his ankle, did not play, and we're wondering, what's this offense going to look like with Tyler Moore running the offense under center? Well, pretty darn good. Really didn't miss a beat. The 3 touchdowns, and then you add Christian Brown as a good secondary option, and that 1-2 punch of Brown and Moore was way too much for Peck to overcome. Got to talk about that kickoff return too. That was absolutely, to me, the key of this game. Shout out to Ryan Shornack. He's the one that threw the block that sprung Moore for the touchdown. Without that block from Shornack, Moore does not score. So that was absolutely huge. Coach Jack Knobloch, he said that wasn't a momentum changer. That was a momentum stealer. And he was absolutely right. North Huron got the ball coming out of the half and scored, and then really going up 28-6, that was ball game. But it all hinges on that block and that kickoff return. Biggest play of the game. North Huron really proved a lot in this game.
Give me more. Give me more. Where has this guy been? I mean, this is a Clark Ramsey special. I guarantee this guy does windows, okay? This guy played absolutely phenomenal and asked to do so on short notice, just a handful of practices running the offense. Explosive. Just goes to show you the depth of this North Huron team, the coaching staff. Hats off to those guys. Excellent job, excellent game plan, because the defense, as you mentioned, and I got to mention again, was absolutely outstanding. They absolutely stepped up, knowing that their quarterback situation was a question mark. Clearly, it didn't take long when Tyler Moore exploded for 70 yards to start this game. The crowd gets to go crazy. All 72 of them that are allowed to be at games right now goes nuts. And the home team doesn't miss a beat from there. Tyler Moore looked like he's been doing it for his whole career. And that's great to know, because this is a weapon for North Huron moving forward. Knowing they can use Tyler Moore, this opens the playbook for some special packages, unique plays, moving people around. Will Case doesn't have to play every single down and carry the ball 25 times and throw the ball another 10 every single game. Tyler Moore can handle some of this workload. That just makes North Huron that much more dangerous going into next week.
North Huron now will host the Mount Pleasant Sacred Heart Irish, and the luck of the Irish certainly this weekend. And Sacred Heart enters the game at 7-1. They've won their last 5 ball games. Peck finishes the season at 4-4. Two of those 4 losses in the season from Peck come at the hands of the North Huron Warriors. It's time for a short break. When we return, we'll take a look at the 3rd week of the playoffs. That would be the regional final for Division 8 or 8-player football, and the district final for our 11-player football teams. Left side or right side, you're listening to The Strong Side on Sports Radio 1021. When it comes time to buy a new vehicle, the choice is simple. Thompson Chevrolet. Located on M19 just north of Ubly, it's a short drive to find the best quality cars, trucks, and SUVs on the market. Come in and check out the award-winning Chevy Blazer, Chevy Equinox, or the strongest, most advanced Chevy Silverado in its history. With free pickup and delivery on service appointments. With GM-certified mechanics, keep your vehicle in top-performing shape year-round with Thompson Chevrolet. If your next new vehicle is not on the lot, they can get it for you, no problem at all. The latest models are here, so come in, check them out, and find out why so many go Thompson. GoThompsonChevrolet.com. Find new roads. Clark Ramsey here, and I'm being joined by Sure Senior Living Manager Matt Raymer.
Hi, Clark.
Not everyone realizes the full capabilities of Sure Senior Living right here in the Thumb.
You're right. We have 3 different living communities at 3 different levels. Independent living, we have Country Bay Village. Assisted living, Country Gardens. And then for 24-hour nursing care, we are proud to have long-term care.
In your opinion, what's the biggest benefit of living in one of Sure's 3 senior living communities?
Honestly, it's a variety of things. Convenience, quality of living, and peace of mind. Our residents don't have to worry about home maintenance, mowing the lawn, doing laundry in the basement, and the big one, shoveling snow in the winter.
So, how can everyone find out more about Sure Senior Living?
The best place to start is to go to the Senior Living section on sure.org. We have a lot of information available on there for your convenience.
So that's sure.org/senior living. Or just go to the Services tab and click on Senior Living.
Whether you're interested in Country Bay Village, Country Gardens, or long-term care, check it out and see what kind of great resource we have right here in our own backyard.
That's sure.org/senior living. Sure Senior Living. Better health. Better life.
Hey, Jim, we going out tonight?
No, I'm going to have to skip. I'm out of cash.
Out of cash? We just got paid today.
Yeah, but I deposited my check in the bank, but I can't use the money or take it out for 2 business days.
What do you mean? You can't take your own money out for 2 days?
New policy at my bank.
I think you need to switch to my bank, Thumb Bank and Trust. Since I have my accounts at Thumb Bank, I can deposit my paycheck, get same-day credit, and get the spending money I need right away.
Well, I think it's time for me to switch banks. Where's Thumb Bank located?
Thumb Bank and Trust has locations in Pigeon, Caseville, Cass City, Bad Axe, and Bay City. So there's no problem getting to the nearest location.
Well, that sounds like a plan, Stan.
It's time to make the switch to your local bank. Thumb Bank and Trust, serving our community for over 125 years. An equal opportunity lender and member FDIC.
You want to be where everybody knows your name.
Left side or right side, you're listening to The Strong Side on Sports Radio 1021 and live on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com, search for WLWsports.com. No .com on there, and regardless, it should pop up. We'll see. Hit subscribe. We need to get 100 followers. This is the whole key to subscriptions. We need to get to 100 followers and subscriptions on YouTube, so that way we can have our own custom URL. That's our whole goal in this whole process.
What are we at?
24.
Well, come on, folks. Step it up. Help us out.
I'm about ready to create 76 Gmail accounts for myself. All right, let's take a look here at the upcoming schedule. The third week of the postseason. Say your prayers this week that this can happen, thanks to the current scenario here. But let's see here. 8-player football, Division I, Morris, the NCTL team Morris, the 1 seed, hosting Adrian Lenawee Christian. Morris, the last year's Division I champion in 8-player football. Adrian Lenawee Christian, the first year in 8-player football, they lost last year in the regional final to eventual state champion Reading 21-26. That should be a pretty darn ball game in front of us.
I'm going with the upset. Adrian Lenawee Christian over your defending champion. When you look at Adrian Lenawee Christian's body of work, it's just more impressive than what Morris has done. Morris has given up points. Adrian Lenawee Christian has given up double-digit points one time, and I think that's going to be the key in this game. It should be close, but I'm gonna take this one. I'm pretty confident in it.
It's going to be a quality football game because Adrian Lenawee Christian and Morris are both playing really good ball. Probably Adrian Lenawee Christian's playing better, but Morris has played some pretty tough teams. So I think last week's opponent was a little tougher than Adrian Lenawee Christian, so that kind of waters that down a little bit. But I don't disagree with you at all. Adrian Lenawee Christian right now probably should be the favorite.
And the winner of that one will take on Martin in the other region. Moving on to Division II of 8-player football, Mount Pleasant Sacred Heart at North Huron. I presume this game will be Saturday at 1 p.m.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, so that is confirmed. North Huron plays on Saturday. Once again, they'll be hosting Mount Pleasant Sacred Heart. They beat Sacred Heart last year in the first week of the season, 14-6. They lost the year prior, and that was a score of 20-42. We'll see how that one goes.
Interesting tidbit about this game.
Okay.
Mount Pleasant Sacred Heart's only losses to Peck, 28-22. Mount Pleasant Sacred Heart went up 22-0 in that game, and Peck came all the way back. So what you see there is the potential that Sacred Heart can score a lot of points and score them quickly and could put North Huron on their heels. But there's still hope because Peck's offense was not nearly as good as North Huron's, not nearly as diverse. But that is definitely something to keep in mind, that Sacred Heart went up big on Peck early in that game and put Peck on their heels and were able to come back.
Peck was beaten by North Huron twice, though, this year. So I still like North Huron's chances. Tyler Moore gives you that excitement, gives you that feel that they can still do it, whether Will Case is able to go or not.
Moving on, of course, the winner of North Huron Sacred Heart will play the winner of Colon the Magi against the Shamrocks. A lot of magic in that one. Portland St. Patrick in Colon taking place in Portland Saturday next week. Moving on to Division 8 11-player football. This would be Ubly. In this one, still alive from the Greater Thumb Conference, they travel to Flint Beecher. This game is Friday at 7 p.m.
That's correct.
Friday at 7 p.m. in Beecher. Ubly 6-2, Flint Beecher 7-1. The Bearcats against the Bucks. This should be a pretty interesting game. Two styles of play on display.
Here's what I think is the biggest game of the year for Ubly when I believe K-Pack wasn't able to field a team. Ubly was able to go out and get Flint Hamady, a team that's very similar, that lost, I think Hamady lost by 6 points or something like that to Flint Beecher. But the point is, a team that was very similar to the style and the athleticism that Ubly's going to see against Flint Beecher. Ubly's already been exposed to a similar kind of team. I think they know what to expect. They know they're gonna give away size, they're gonna give away athleticism. that doesn't really bother Ubly. They're going to make that up with technique and not making mistakes, and bringing their own brand of physicality into Flint. But I look back at that Flint-Hamady game and say, what a great schedule and pickup. Whether it was the athletic director, the football coach, whoever was able to schedule that game, kudos to them, because I think that that's going to be such a key to play into this game.
I mentioned it earlier. I'll say it again. It's really too bad that Harbor Beach wasn't able to play this team, because we wanted to see them again up close, play one of our thumb teams. And I think it's just another game of scouting that the Bearcats don't get to utilize. But I don't think the Bearcats are going to have that much trouble. I think they're going to take down Flint Beecher. I just think fundamentally they're more sound. When those Flint teams come up this way, they run into a physical brand of football that the Ubly Bearcats are known for. They're going to get hit hard. They're not going to turn the ball over. And they got a freshman quarterback that is balling out. He might throw it a couple times on these guys. My only question is, can the Bearcats stop the pass? I think Beecher's going to try to spread them out at times and throw it a little bit. If Ubly handles that, I think the Bearcats can handle Flint Beecher.
And Ubly Bearcats playing at Flint Beecher this Friday at 7 p.m. The winner of that one will go on to take on Carson City Crystal and Fowler. Fowler, the 1 seed, Carson City Crystal, the 2 seed. The Eagles against the Eagles in that one. Moving on to Division 7, 11-player football. This will be the game of the week on the WLW Sports Network. Game time, we do believe to be Friday at 7 p.m. We will confirm that on our social media sites as well as our website. Be sure to check that out for confirmation there as the week progresses. But in the District 52 final will be the Hemlock Huskies hosting the Cass City Redhawks, the 1 and 2 seed respectively. Both teams 8-0 on the season. They've met a few times in history. I'm not sure. We'll have to confirm that one. But Hemlock and Cass City, these two styles of play line up very well. We'll see what the Redhawks are able to do against the Huskies.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. And the biggest reason, the two reasons looking forward to it is, Clark, we have never been to Hemlock in the decade we've been calling games. So that's always a nice notch on our belts. And second of all, the Bad Axe Hatchets, they have given us a ton of confidence that Cass City can hang in with Hemlock as well. Bad Axe hung around with this team. Had a puncher's chance to win. I think Cass City has just as good a chance to do the same thing, but they have to find a little more on the offensive side. That defense was so impressive against Sandusky, but that offense needs to find a way to get their playmakers out in space. They have a ton of them, and it just took too long on Friday night for them to find those guys, but they did it just enough time to pull out ahead and beat a good Sandusky team. This Hemlock team is just as solid.
And just a quick look on the other side of this this bracket. One of the best games in the state, Pewamo Westphalia at Ithaca. You're talking the bluest of the blue bloods in the state of Michigan. It's hard to believe Ithaca is dropping down to Division 7. Division 7, it could very well be the toughest division when you look at the type of teams that make up this division. But my goodness, what a game in Ithaca. Just surviving by a point against North Muskegon, 18-17. This has the all the makings of a state championship caliber game right here.
I think you mean Pewamo Westphalia. Wasn't it PW only won by one?
PW. I'm sorry. PW won 18-17.
Yeah, that North Muskegon team is just a 500 ball club. So going into this week, I would like to Pewamo Westphalia, but I have totally flipped that Pewamo Westphalia only beating North Muskegon at home by 1. I got to lean Ithaca now. 41-0. Ithaca won their team. They took care of business.
When you take a look at the region that Cass City's in here between Cass City, Hemlock, Pewamo Westphalia, and Ithaca, we have a whole 16, 23, 31 wins and 1 loss between the 4 teams. So that is destined to be a great region regardless of who plays. But Pewamo Westphalia at 7-1, Ithaca at 8-0 on the season. So that is going to wrap things up here for the Strong Side this week. Thank you to Paul P. Adams in person here from the Huron County View, Dave Hanson in-game analysis for the WLW Sports Network. And we'll be back on air, sounds like Friday at 6 p.m. from Hemlock, Michigan, as the Cass City Redhawks go to the road to take on the Huskies for the District 60 final. You're listening to the WLW Sports Network. Thank you for listening. Left side or right side, you're listening to the Strong Side every Sunday at 7 p.m. Your home for high school football is the WLEW Sports Network, being powered by Ager Valley Services. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Until then, on Friday at 6 p.m., keep posted as soon as we get there. You're listening to The Strong Side.
This has been a presentation of the WLEW Sports Network. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Just search for WLEW Sports. Your home for high school football is the WLEW Sports Network.